Your colleague from the Ukrainian media has mentioned the tribulations the people of Donbass and the Luhansk region are going through. The level of life is very low there. But what about the rest of Ukraine? The standard of life there is almost as low as in the Donbass. It is getting worse amid the hostilities, amid the tensions. Everything is forgiven to the authorities within the country, and without more so because they get money for that. They're going to get yet another tranche from the IMF, yet another bulk of money, but this is only going to be enough to pay the pensions and other social benefits, and the future generations will have to pay for this loan. But on the whole, the situation there is not that good in the economic sphere, in the social sphere, in internal politics, and yet our two peoples are very close. We have historical roots going deep, and we're going to do everything in order to support this closeness, this proximity. Right now, amendments are being prepared to the citizenship law, and these amendments are going to be passed early next year. Maybe regional media, I see the Caucasia newspaper, a very small placard. Could you speak a little bit louder, please? Mr. President, I'm from Caucasia newspaper. I would like to raise the issue of the recent regional elections. It's no secret that in several regions the elections have been very emotional, very tense. Sometimes it has taken a lot to complete the elections in Primoria. They have only over now. Caucasia took 2 months to vote, but after this protest vote, opposition parties arrived in power. And Caucasia, we've got a candidate from the Communist Party in Karabarovsk and Vladimir regions, from the Liberal Democratic Party. And that begs the question, why do you think this has happened? And secondly, why, despite the tradition that you previously held, you have not yet met with the new leaders, and how to build relations with the regions where opposition parties have arrived in power? There is a fear that the federal center is going to deprive these regions of financing and so on and so forth. Please do not worry about that. It's very strange that this question arises at all. As for the meeting, the elections in Vladivostok have just been completed, and that is why the meetings have not yet happened. I think they are already scheduled. Next week we're going to have the session of the State Council, and I've given the instruction to the administration there's going to be a separate meeting with the newly elected heads of regions. The territories that you have mentioned in particular, we had to wait for the outcome of the election in Vladivostok. That's the first thing. Secondly, this is not the first time when we see opposition party candidates arrive in power during the vote. You know that the Liberal Democratic Party candidate is the head of Smolensk region, and I think in Omsk there is an opposition party. In other regions there are communists in power, and they are working very well.
I'm not a member of any party. I was one of the founders of the United Russia Party, but president should not be a party member in this country. What matters most for me is that the people in the Rimland should feel that the life is changing for the better, and once they decide to support this or that person who is not representing the United Russia Party, it's up to them to decide, and I will help and avail any of the elected heads of regions. But the point is that this person elected should be up to the task and be able to deliver on his electoral pledges to people. Okay, let's continue. RIA Novosti is the one from the pool yet to ask a question. Lina Glushakova, RIA Novosti Newswire, good day. I have a poster representing Masha and the bear, and as my colleagues have said, for a number of years we have been under a great deal of sanctions, and we get confused, and sometimes even the cartoon protagonists are subject to sanctions. But they want to impose even stricter sanctions, like the American lawmakers are getting ready for that. Is Russia does Russia brace itself for the new round of sanctions, and does the government has a plan to minimize the after effects for the economy, and what may these after effects be? Well, we mentioned these sanctions on many occasions. If you want me to repeat that, okay. In the course of our history, the Russian Federation, Russia has lived under restrictions and sanctions throughout all our history. Let's go look back to the 19th century, the 12th century. It's all the same. Just leaf through the diplomatic correspondence of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It's all the same. Our diplomats
Got that
called
right.
to bring Caucasus to order and do this and that. Why so? With what is it linked? I said that before, and I hope you understand, most of you understand. It is because the power of the Russian Federation has been rising, the competitiveness is on the rise. There is a new powerful stakeholder to be reckoned with, and many people and many parties don't want that. And it seemed a while ago that this country was moving into an existence, but we have the population of 160 million people, and we have been upholding the interests of our people with reserve and restraint, with calm and peace, and we will keep doing that. And the Skripal case was cited, and Khashoggi once again, and it has no sense, just additional measures to contain the Russian Federation. Our economy has been adjusting itself to these new restrictions. I mentioned at the outset of today's press conference that after the 2008 global downturn, our GDP fell by 7.8 percentage points without any sanctions, and while after the sanctions were imposed in 2014, the GDP slump was 2.5% only. You asked me how we assess the after effects. Well, our assessment, definitely from our own perspective, it is one thing, but let's look at how the opponents of ours assess the sanctions. Like the Treasury Department of the US believes that this 2.5% fall in 2015 is related only by one-third to sanctions, and the two-thirds is because of this fall is because of the slump in the hydrocarbons price. I think that the share of sanctions is less than one-third, and it backfires on those who impose these sanctions, like the European economy lost around 500 billion euro as a result of these sanctions imposed. They have not been able to supply as many goods and items as before, and they have not been able to import as many things as before, and the number of jobs has waned, which is quite sensitive for them. In many European countries, the unemployment rates are high, like in Spain, it's at around 15%. And here we have, in this country, at 4.8%, in Spain we have a 15% unemployment, and the global trade development that went down by $14-something billion. It's also an after effect of the unpredictable sanctions policies, and it's detrimental to everybody. Our economy has been adapting to that. It has adjusted itself to sanctions, despite some negative repercussions, but there are definitely some of the positive things, like we have started thinking and using our own mind and using our own resources. The share of our own domestic vehicle manufacturing industry is 97% or 75% for some of the groups of vehicles and other technical devices. Last year and this year we spent 600 million rubles on import substitution, and the federal budget shares 125 billion rubles. The agricultural sector has benefited. Unfortunately, there was a short-term price hike for food items inside this country, but now the prices have stabilized and the agriculture has leaped forward a lot. No one could think of that in the past. And the agricultural exports have increased 16 times in the past years, so there are some drawbacks and some advantages at the same time, and we would like the global economy to develop not without any shocks or illegitimate action or external constraints for the benefit of the global economy. Okay, this time, this flag, regional media, Chelyabinsk, okay, but here I see the sign KGB and children. Today is the 20th of December, which is the KGB, used to be the KGB day. Why this sign, KGB and children? Please pass the mic over there. As a good acquaintance of mine said, all of us are KGB children, but we were brought up in different.
Consideration of calendar number 364, HR 1660. The clerk will report.